I'm that girl who learned in doing QHHT and BQH sessions what was happening in the future for humanity and this planet through hundreds of clients all around the world. It was extraordinary to hear all of this information just simply flowing out through my clients' voices and bodies, and it made so much sense as I was starting to put the pieces of the puzzles of what's going on and why. And most of you have been on that journey with me as we have all learned through other people's sessions the information, and then we've been inspired, haven't we all, to go and have our own sessions to be able to clarify the information and how it truly applies to us. Most people are like this: it's not for me, it's not for me, I'm not creating that reality, because you have retirement plans, you have future plans, you are thinking you may come back again and enjoy this planet in a different lifetime, somehow different for whatever your thoughts and impressions of what you need in these other lifetimes that you are hoping you're going to be able to get here. So fascinating, isn't it? So fascinating. And when I was not seeking out this information and it just keeps slipping out in sessions, it got my attention quite quickly because it was so full on what the information was coming out, and quite fast. And of course, when I started doing my own sessions and hearing more information, knowing what my comfortable belief and understanding was here, and then my subconscious was just Mr. Chatterbox, and he just gave me and the practitioners who were supporting me a whole lot of bigger information that we were really not prepared for. And we were sort of like this, excuse me, we were not ready for that. We thought you were protecting us from information we would be ready for. And they would be like, it's time. It's time. You're not here for a picnic. You're here to be of service, to be able to help this planet, to be able to help humanity. Focus on your missions, focus on your roles. You were sleeping on purpose, and now you have to step up because it's time to step up. And most of us were like, wait, I'm still sleepy, I'm quite comfortable in my pajamas, how dare you make me step up? And so this has been very hard for many reasons, but unfortunately the information we get in sessions is universally the same information. So we can't deny it as woo-woo. Lots of practitioners are getting the same information, and it's definitely coming, and we can't, we have no doubts about that, right? Or we can have doubts about it. It's totally fine. And I know lots of spiritual people who have shared information about the shift and 5D not being a state of mind here, and they have been really confused. Why? Because of all of my spiritual friends, we've been on this journey, we have understood stuff, we have done courses together, we connect in together, we channel together, we do all this stuff together, and yet this one information about the shift to a different location in a different dimension, being off planet, it's a deal breaker for even their friendships. Isn't that interesting? So and when we have sessions about it, the subconscious is like, it's like all friendships and all relationships that are breaking up and have been breaking up sort of since the lockdowns. You're all preparing yourselves for the future. So we know many people, husbands and wives, they are not wanting to have life contracts to continue on in the same path together. They're here now and enjoying their best lives now together, but their souls do not need to be hand holding each other to the new earth or somewhere else. And while that makes people feel really scared that they may be leaving their loved ones behind, yes, it's a very 3D dimensional perspective, but in reality, it's all planned. It's all purposeful. You all will be connected back, even if it's just back with source. And so the times that you have here to support each other here now is significant, is purposeful, will always be treasured, but it's not guaranteed you'll all be going together. And I would like to remind you of all the other lifetimes you've had, and potentially all the other partners you've had. Not trying to suggest your soul's been getting around, but you know what I mean in terms of we have forgotten right now who all our other lifetime partners have been, all our other families have been. We've heard and been reminded in sessions that we have, potentially dozens of mothers, dozens of everything, depending on how many different lifetimes we've had. But right now, we're so desperately connected in, so desperately connected into the people that are in our lives now. And while we know that there are the terminology soul partners, soulmates, I should say, that means that you're just the same fraction. So the subconscious is the same. And the subconscious is just feeling a different aspect of it. And I don't know if I need to explain again how we are multidimensional beings and how we've come from source and our higher selves fractured off first to have independent experiences. And as those higher selves are still having those independent experiences, they have branched off and out into different dimensions. And so we see that we are the smallest, we are the third dimension aspect of ourselves. And along the way up, back up to source, we get to see our subconscious, who is still a fraction of our higher selves, who is then a fraction of source. And potentially there could be a whole dozen bunches of different other fractions along the way. So, we understand that the amount that we know while we're in these 3D bodies, with the capability and the capacity of our 3D minds, is probably this. It's probably this tiny little bit amount. That's probably all we actually need. And I know many people are struggling to distract themselves with this, thinking this is not enough, this is not everything. And they're constantly trying to get more information from the other lifetimes and off planets and the purpose of the world and blah, 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 blah. And, that is fantastic, but sometimes that can really distract. And so I know lots of people are putting all of their hopes and wishes and dreams into big disclosures happening. And we understand that that's what they understand, and I understand. Many people are still hoping that that's going to awaken their friends who are still not aware of the control and the manipulation and the coercion and the disempowerment that has been happening on humanity. It's almost getting to the point, my friends, where I feel like for those people who are still asleep, their free will has truly been taken from them because they are complying, and it's not for their own, they're not on their own path. And while we can't judge who's asleep and who is awake because we don't know their life contracts, and it's a very, very, very valid contract to be asleep. Wouldn't you like to be asleep right now? Remember the old normal? I would like the old normal, but without the fear and the worry. Because when I was asleep, I was very afraid and very worried, and I don't know why I was. Yes, there was a lot of impact on my body physically from flinch-locks, and I was in a state of constant panic and trauma, but I didn't realize that. But then my mindset was also flipping into it. And ironically, the more I did these sessions and the more I did this work and the more I understood metaphysics, the more calmer I got, the more at peace and at balance I got, and the more faith and trust that I have, even though it can be a roller coaster ride. And sometimes I've started to get another big list of big questions that I want to clarify for the subconscious myself, because I'm just wanting to make sure, because I'm still curious about certain things. We know that it's all unfolding, but we're on this pause. Like, are we there yet? Come on. And they're saying, well, look at Japan. Look what just happened to Japan yesterday. And it's going to continue on. Big earthquakes are going to continue on. And I'm saying to them, well, we were waiting for the whole China thing. And they say that this is what I want to clarify with them. And I know that once we dip into the fun conversations of time, I had this one fantastic session where they showed me the concept of time and timelines. And it was so fantastic. And I feel like I want to have this conversation with you again now to see if I can explain it. And so they were in this room. So let's just imagine there is 100, this is one big room, right? And the only thing that is in this room is 100 boxes. And each box represents 1 year of someone's life. Okay, so that person standing there looking at the 100 boxes, that represents all the memories of that single year. And so they can look at, and it's like from their one perspective, they're looking at all 100 boxes, and they are seeing some pivotal points that they chose in time, which really sort of changed and impacted other things. And so if you've already got a whole 100 years volume of information in 100 different boxes, and you could tell and you remembered every single thing, all the big choices and decisions makings that you made throughout that, and all those boxes, when you look back and think, where would be, if I was wanting to improve that life experiences, what would I go and change? And so they can go into a certain box and to a certain point and see if that was a big decision that they made, if they changed that perspective and that decision, whether it was to overcome and to continue on a relationship, or to have a child, or to change a career, or something that really could improve and expand upon that. It seems like they can go into this room of 100 boxes knowing where things could have room for improvement, for growth and additions. And so they build upon that, and then they create that new bridge or branch of experiences. And it seems like they kind of tinker around with it a bit. And so they're sort of like, well, let's see if we just added on that component to those years, change that one moment in time, how would the rest of it go? And so it kind of seemed like when they were explaining to me, and I feel like I'm not doing a very good job right now, so pardon, roll with me, was that they would add on, they would add to it. It didn't seem like they ever really took away from it, but they sort of added on information into a certain year. And it was like, so they'd have all these standard size boxes, and then they would have like an implement or an add-on, like a little small box on top of, like, you know, the box of 39 or something like that. And so that would give it this addition, which then kind of enriched all the rest of the flow of all of the other boxes. And it was kind of like this person was just going through their whole lives and just kind of tweaking certain bits of it here and there to give them those other experiences, or to kind of pull them back into line, or to do something. And it was like they were pondering all of the boxes to see where at the most appropriate and important time for them to get more, to gain more experiences in those certain lives. And then it was like they showed me, and it was like, so when they were completely happy with it, when they felt like it was the biggest possibility of experiences, and they really appreciated all of the bits and pieces, and it worked in general for them. I guess they can't like, no, back in 22, I didn't want to have a cup of tea that day, I wanted a coffee. I think these are really big life changes, and I think it's it's interesting. It's like they created their own branches of timelines for that person to add onto it. And then when they were super happy with the whole totality of the 100 boxes, then they were like, right, done. We'll close all of the boxes, seal them all, no additions to it. And then we will complete and wrap up that whole life cycle, that whole life experience and journey. And it's interesting because I don't know why they're wanting to talk about it today, so I'm going to connect in with them about it. So when we all close up all those boxes and seal it up and say done, okay, so now you can have an exit point with that life, that will be the complete life, seal it up, that's a wrap, print it, whatever analogy you want to sort of apply to this. It's like once they've completely happy with all of it, then they are happy to close it down. And what if, for example, those boxes didn't just represent years, But what if those boxes represented all your lives? So you had 100 lives, and they were tweaking 100 different lives to make sure that you had the full range of experiences that that soul wanted to have. So I get interested when I want to explore time and timelines and what is the best version of self. And I know that many people think that there is multiple, a limited amount of versions of you, but we've asked in sessions and they said it's not that. That's making it sound really complicated, and it's not that at all. Because if there was the possibility of having, unlimited versions of you, then why would we need anyone else to exist in this lifetime? And you wouldn't, it would just be you. But then I guess we all one, so we are just all each other anyway. So wouldn't that be the case versus 1,000 million different versions of you in your life living out cups of tea, or versus cups of coffee, for example? You were just us. We're all these individuals, and that's how we are, limitless experiences of ourselves. Sorry, this is definitely not what they were planning to talk about today, but for some reason it's popped in because I wanted to be able to clarify to them. For my reality, I haven't shifted, and I know most of the people that I know people who have shifted. Obviously, it's getting more and more people now are shifting that I know. So it's interesting when I my reality of time, and I know that there's always crazy questions that I want clarified. So just want to share with you in my perception where I'm wanting to get to understand more, even though it's probably beyond this little reality of what we should be focusing on, right? Because this is a mega distraction. Is that, I'm perceiving it, on the 17th of March, 2022. And, I'm living my linear life, my perceived linear life, but we know that time isn't at all consistent, because everything's happening that ever has happened, right? Which is future and past. It all is those open boxes in that room, all getting information and all compiling and adding on new information to each of those boxes, each of those lives. And we know that, or each of those years, depending on, where you're comfortable in considering all of this. And we know we can heal the past easy. We can heal the past easy, which would mean that, we can go into, say, a client's life and go back to when they're 6 years old, when big trauma happened, heal them, make them understand and relive it with a different perspective of being supported, loved, and understand the lessons. This was a life contract for you to experience those sort of things. Now you know what that purpose and that lesson was for. You've grown and healed from it because you can see it from the bigger perspective, which is always healing. And so therefore that 6-year-old doesn't have trauma. We can seal up that box of the 6-year-old now because it's done, that those lessons are healed. And so they're saying that when we're doing our inner work, we are closing down those boxes of those events and those years, because we've completed them and we've completed them and learned from them. And they say that it's not until you may have several rooms of different lifetimes where you're going through and unpacking them. This is why they keep saying unpacking. You're dealing with multiple lifetimes where you're trying to heal and expand and have heaps of different experiences. And then one by one, you're sort of like sealing up those boxes, like done, completed. I've taken them out of my closet. I've unpacked them. I've gone through it. And now I can, move forward more. And we know that You don't necessarily need to be living in those lifetimes to be able to heal from those experiences, because sometimes you can't see the bigger picture. And so you have to then review the life and be able to pack it that way. And then you'd be going back into that room, you know, after your physical life. So you've got no more physical experiences, but you're reviewing that to then go back in time to be able to encourage with your guides to move you forward, or in a different way. So you kind of then, as you're doing your life review, you are able to tinker around with that lifetime in some degree. But of course, you use your free will when you're in the physical lifetime to ignore yourself and your guides trying to push you into the right direction. So it seems very fascinating, quite interesting. And this is obviously them wanting me to explore this more. Because I feel like I haven't, I know I'm almost wanting to like stop this recording, because it's like, this is more something that I'm wanting to explore into more, and potentially will just distract many people who haven't considered how we can heal time. So how we can heal our past, and how we can do a whole lot of stuff. And we know from sessions that we've heard that we can absolutely heal those people, heal those lineages, and to remove not curses, but assumptions that are of limited perspectives. And so we can really help close those boxes and remove the trauma from past lifetimes, past time, from this lifetime. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on. And so people who think that talk therapy is fantastic and really helpful, yeah, that's one perspective. But how can you get to the root of the problem if the problem is another lifetime? So you can match that density and be able to heal from it, but you won't actually know what you're processing and working through. And that's still valid. You know, any healing is good healing. And so I just like to be efficient with my inner work and helping other people. And I like to get directly to the root of the issue and the purpose and the significance of it, and not create repeat clients who are coming back and back and back and back again, because I know that one session is so powerful, it can heal profound things. So this is why I still choose to do these sessions, because I know the power of them, because I respect the power of the subconscious, and I know the subconscious is going to show you the most appropriate things and discuss the most appropriate things with you, what you're ready for now. And so while many people want to get big information about the date of the shift, for example, the subconscious is going to, with love, remind you you're not ready for that information, because you've still got a lot of unpacking to do and a lot of healing to do. And it seems like a lot of people who hear about the shift in the information suddenly lose disinterest of their resentment and their frustrations and their small focus in 3D. Because it's really surface stuff that was distracting them again, and they're wanting many people to move forward and understand, you know, we don't have the luxury of just kicking around and mucking around here. We have to really honor our lives, really honor the experiences, and learn and grow from it as much as possible without being too distracted ourselves. So, you know, there's a lot going on. It's not easy, and lots of people feel like, oh God, this is too hard work. Pass, next. I'll just listen to people tell me what to think and do. And that's also another valid choice. But many people are starting to notice that some of the influences that they've followed are starting to say things that do not resonate with them deeply now. And that's really, it's like having your favorite meal and then suddenly not being able to taste it. So disappointing, isn't it? And you just want that favorite meal, but yet every time you have it, it's like the recipe's changed or something like that. And often people will do this. Oh, something's wrong with me because my favorite influencer is not resonating with me anymore. I must be dumb or stupid. No, my friends, we've heard this so many times in sessions, you've outgrown them, you've jumped above their range of perspectives and understanding and their own inner work. And so it's stepping stones, and ultimately you're supposed to really just find one big, fantastic influencer, you. This has always been about empowering you. There's no one else that you need. Yeah, we can have some friends and some influences that encourage us along the way, but ultimately who you've been seeking for and the information and the truth of what you've always been searching for has been within you. It's always been with you, always. We just distract ourselves and ignore it and shove it off and think, oh no, it can't be me. Can't be me, couldn't be possibly me. And every time in the subconscious, they're always saying it's you. You've always been you. You were always supposed to empower yourself. You're the only person that can empower yourself. But many of you hold your voices and block yourselves, dismiss yourselves because of criticism or lack of self-worth or lack of self-love and all of that stuff. And so they're really encouraging you to treat yourself and honor yourself as if you are the best, most important influencer that there is on this planet right now. And that's 100% correct, because you are. You absolutely are the most influential person in your life. But if you constantly don't trust yourself and you constantly are criticizing yourself and belittling yourself and not trusting yourself, then that's almost like it's an interesting relationship. And so I love it when people get so empowered that they can now connect into themselves, and they can channel and they can do some great things and rely on themselves more than seeking outside support or love or all that sort of stuff. We're supposed to all contain it within ourselves. It's not selfish. It's self-empowering, but we can see many people are still trying to seek approval, praise, and attention from others. And that's still, that's still their journey. That's where they're on. But ultimately, we are supposed to be self-sufficient with love and support and empowerment of self. And so whatever you're trying to seek from others, it's a big statement that you're still trying to, that you're not actually capable of doing it for yourself. So it's like they're giving you permission again today to remind you that you can do it for yourself, everything for yourself. And people are like, oh, yeah, boring, loving myself. No, I want lots of attention and support from others. And yeah, you can. That's, you can get that, but you can't feel the love and support of others until you fully love and support yourself. Because it's like you're trying to seek your favorite meal from others, but it's tasteless because you can't feel it. And so lots of people feel frustrated that they're so alone and isolated because they feel alone and isolated from themselves. Even though they're surrounded by people, they can still feel isolated and alone. That's a reflection. That's a reflection of your own perspective and relationship with self. So go in and listen to and notice what your mind is actually saying to you, what your thoughts and feelings are actually saying to you. I still know a lot of people that have real dirty, horrible self-talk. It's really surprising. They don't mean to do it. They say, no, I'm not. I respect myself. I'm just joking. Sometimes jokes are still, your body isn't noticing, oh, don't worry. That was just a joke. Your body is listening to every intention that you're stating. And your body is responding to your frequency. Your body is responding to your mindsets. And so whatever you keep telling yourself, your body is going to act out. So it's extraordinary times. And if I haven't said this today, I will say it now. Interns are free. And I do know quite a few interns that would love to have sessions with you, so don't be shy. I'm happy to hook you all up if you need to, but you have to start doing things for yourselves. You have to have at least tried to find your own local practitioner. You have to have tried. I know many people that don't want to try anything and just like, Joe, do everything for me. No, I'm not doing that anymore, my friends. I'm sorry. You have to start putting effort in yourselves, because that's the kind of attitude that interns will do fantastic sessions on you, and then you won't even bother listening to the session. Ugh, 3 hours. Ew, I hate the sound of my voice. Like, people will give me so many "my dog ate my homework" excuses why they haven't even listened to their frickin' sessions. I think I cried. I don't like the sound of that. Okay, well then get over yourselves. This is important. If you're going to waste an intern's time doing a session, at least respect yourselves and them enough to listen to the sessions. And I know lots of people say, oh, it was just me talking the whole time. I made the whole thing up. Okay, so then when you were making the whole thing up, what did you say? Listen to the sessions. It does unfortunately feel like we're making it all up, which is the most uncomfortable thing, because we're translating the senses that the subconscious is giving us. And so we are having to mansplain the senses that we're getting for the answers. And so we are translating, but we are not creating the information. There's a big difference between just being a vehicle, a messenger of translating their senses versus, and then I think I was a princess unicorn and fantastic. I don't need to do any inner work. I'm done. And I'm just going to be fantastic on the new earth. There's a difference. And your interns and even you know when you're creating stuff, and the subconscious is very firm and very direct and very high perspective. And so you know what you're doing to self-sabotage those sessions if you are, and there's a whole lot of stuff to be said about it, but please just try and do something and get clarification, because when you do these sessions, when you honor yourself and surrender into this, they're very activating. And I know many people who, as soon as they got the connection of the subconscious and they knew how they could connect and they trusted that, they were channeling fluently quite easily afterwards. So whatever you're seeking, I know many people want to just channel, but they don't know how it happens or how it works. And you actually just need to do more of these sessions. It's super easy to do more of these sessions, but you have to surrender in and trust. So there's lots of lessons there as well. Lots and lots of lessons. Always, everything's fucking purposeful. We can surrender into that. We can trust that. We can accept that, time is a fancy fun thing, and we can feel into it. And I always wonder where my consciousness is in reference to time, and is that the same as you? Are you experiencing my current time too, or are you in the future in my perspective, or are you in the past? And I just think all of these really interesting things, because I remember in one session one of the clients was saying that they were going to shift a month before their friend, and then their friend was going to shift a month later, and then I think I was going to shift a month after that, but we wouldn't even know we had shifted. We would all just assume we were all together. And so those friends that kind of just pop out of your life, you're at a different frequency, you're at a different focus. And so, potentially that could be your subconscious guiding you away from wanting to contact those people, because, they're no longer actually there. And I know I've read that recently in a book of Dolores's as well, that you would just resonate out of their lives, and that, people would be like, oh no, I would totally call them. And it's like, no, you would have this you'd get distracted into not call them or reach out, and you would sort of, they'd kind of put the blinders on for you. And it's just like how people were having their blinders put onto them from certain memories, their favorite trauma they used to love thinking about to really bottom out their density. They can't remember it anymore. Or it doesn't impact them anymore. It's not because I've done any of the work for it, but it's just because they were just leaning on it too much as a crutch to not empower themselves out through and beyond. So your teams are like, you're never going to deal with that properly. We're going to seal that box up ourselves for you, because it's just too big and too distracting. And so maybe they will open it up later when you can cope with that later more. But lots of people have got like vision, like they can't remember much stuff. They get worried about their memories. Oh, well, my memory's going. This is Alzheimer's. Is this something else? They're really panicking about it. And always the subconscious is like, no, we took the focus away from that. Because it's too distracting. We want you to focus, 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 focus. And so, you know, they're very consistent with that. And so is this one of the reasons why people are resistant and hesitant to have sessions, because they're going to either be told off by their subconscious, which never is the case. They always want to empower you, always, absolutely always. And they can understand you so much, and they can understand your choices to be resistant to doing certain things or stuck on certain things. They love you more than you love yourselves. They know you more than you know yourself in this realm. And so they're wanting to really help you, and they keep nudging you and nudging you and nudging you, begging, please have your own sessions, because this will really help you. It's not cheating. It's going to give you the most direct information for you. And if you've been listening to these conversations with Heaven on Earth and all of those sessions, you know, you're really, truly interested in hearing bigger perspective. So why are you not wanting to have the bigger perspective come through you? Inner work, my friends, and there is nothing wrong with it. And I'm certainly not judging, but I want to help those who want to help themselves. Always, always. That's my big mission, right? To help people who want to help themselves. Because I can't keep helping people who don't want to help themselves, because, you know, I can't love them enough. I can't support them enough, because they're constantly blocking and sabotaging that. So, you know, boundaries is fantastic. But for those people who truly, truly, truly want to step up and start connecting into their subconscious and getting profound information that's going to help them, you know, go to the QHHT website and find your local intern. They are free. They have to do 25 sessions, I think, still for the internship. And, you know, don't be surprised if your session's going to teach them something. It seems like they, you know, still haven't learned, the majority of people still haven't learned about the big shift. And that's fine. That is fine. That is fine, you know, but it shouldn't impact your session. Whatever their beliefs are should not impact your session at all. In fact, it could give them a fantastic opportunity for growth to understand things. So there's that. Okay. Gosh, I'm not even too sure what I've just been saying to you guys about time and stuff. I hope it, I might, I'm going to focus on a big list of questions and do a channeling for that. But yeah, today is a busy day, just like all my days when I'm supporting so many people who are truly wanting to step up and help themselves. I love that, because I can see profound growth for people who are really stepping into their empowerment. I mean, it's hard, but you need to have the encouragement of self and the drive from self. And unfortunately, your teams are pushing you so freaking hard right now, aren't they? I'm hearing it always in every area. You're having the most full-on dreams. You're having the most full-on dense experiences to be pushed into the right direction. And, you know, that doesn't feel fun. And it feels kind of really frustrating for some people who just want to be left alone. No, leave me alone. I don't want to be guided into the best timeline or the best version of self or whatever we're thinking we're victims to when we're trying to be motivated by the universe to do the things that we wanted to do here. Ooh, okay, well, I love you guys. I hope that you're still drinking lots of water. I know when there's big energies that are coming in, we often forget about the water. And so then we feel really, we get headachy, we get dehydrated, which looks different now. And so, you know, dehydrated is, you know, we're noticing lots of ear ringing and a whole lot of other stuff and feeling kind of nauseous and stuff because we're not grounding ourselves. Water is helping us ground, and many people don't take the time to even simply ground. And so the best next thing is to have water, which is going to keep your frequency high and balanced. But it's kind of like you're all drawing in a whole lot of higher frequencies. And then because you're not releasing it and grounding, you're getting it all stuck in different parts of the body. And it's quite intensive. And And so then you're starting to feel really unwell. And so I really still recommend lots of water, and honor the water, honor yourself. And if you can get some time just to be on the ground outside, barefooted, or even just imagining you're outside on the beach, in the water, doing something, even just that power of intention is going to be powerful for you. So, they're not asking for 24 hours of meditation. They're asking just for diligence and focus on your time and attention onto the things that they know you need. So there's that. It's choices. And there's certainly no judgment from me how you want to live your lives, but it is very possible to, I just noticed those those petals make it look like I've got bunny ears. Okay, sorry, distracting myself. Oh, it's almost Easter here-ish. Okay, anyway, much love to you. Empower yourselves. I know you can do this. I know you can really enjoy your 3D lives here and make it the best possible experiences. And I know it's challenging. I know all of it. I know how frustrating it is. I know how hard it is, and how it can push our tolerance and our patience very much. And that is the luxury of still being human. We're allowed to feel all of those things, but once we hold on to it too long, that's when we start getting the problems, right? That's when we start feeling the physical strain on the body, and it really does kind of plateau out our vibrations. And our jazz handsies are not very jazz handsy much, as we're just focusing on the 3D and all of the fantastic gifts it gives us. Okay, well, much love to you, my friends. Please take what I say with some considerations. I know you all deserve a higher frequency vibrational break. And so when we can dump that density and ground ourselves, life can be really fantastic.